Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for day 10, and this day was quite the day. A lot of fun results coming in, so I'm very excited to talk about this. First game of the day is, of course, Netherlands, Sweden, and Netherlands have more or less punched their ticket into the knockout rounds. Now, they don't technically know where they're finishing. They could finish anywhere between first and third, but they're not finishing last in the group, and they have 4 points and a favorable goal difference, which, as long as they don't blow it, will be good for them to punch their ticket as, at the very least, one of the best third-place teams. And, yeah, they played Sweden, and Sweden, with Graham Potter and the rest of the team, have decided to undo everything good that I apologized for. So I will no longer apologize for Sweden, regardless of the results, because they are a literal roller coaster. This is the first time I've ever seen a team win their first match week 5-1 and lose their second match week 5-1 to have a goal difference of 0 after 2 match weeks. How do you do that? It's ridiculous. Fair play to the Netherlands. They showed up today. They heard what I was saying, I guess, when I was saying that I wasn't wowed by them. They drew their first match week against Japan. They needed to do better, and they went out there and they did better. Brian Bobby with a brace, Cody Gakpo with a brace, and Somerville with a good goal at the end of it. Now, Alanga did score off of the bench, which we're living in the Wild West, man. Man, what do you mean you have Isak Gyökeres and you need a goal and you bring off Anthony Alanga off the bench and he gives it to you? What is this? Sweden, can we just have a normal day just once? Looking ahead for them, it's a little rough out here because they're going to have to go and play Japan. And though, again, Japan have qualified, as have Netherlands unofficially, it's kind of rough out here. So, it's not going to be an easy game. They haven't technically qualified. They can still top the group if they win, especially because they've upped their goal difference very similarly to the Netherlands. So they're going to be out there, looking for that win. And Sweden need it too. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Now, before we get to the other game in the group, we have the other group to talk about. So let's start with Côte d'Ivoire versus Germany. And, it started off well for Côte d'Ivoire. They scored a goal. They were frustrating Germany. Germany were not looking good. Fair play to Nagelsmann for the subs. Undav came on and completely changed the game, scored 2 goals, including the winner, obvious man of the match. It was just fantastic display from him. From all the substitutes, they really changed things, got things going. Côte d'Ivoire, all they needed to do is hold on, and they looked tired. That goal was really easy for Germany because it really looked like a lapse in concentration with Côte d'Ivoire. And it's unfortunate that they couldn't get a result, especially with that chance at the last minute at 1-1 with Adingra, who went to take a touch, and it ruined everything instead of just hitting it first time. In my opinion, if you're going to take a touch, you have to take it to the other side and shoot across goal with your left foot. But the touch he took was not just he took a touch, he took a bad touch, and it let the defense recover and steal the ball, when that should have just been a goal. People will say, oh, he missed it. But it's better that if he misses the shot, if he scuffs it, it's better he misses the shot than, doesn't take one. So there's that. And that's unfortunate for them, but, now Germany topped the group. They know where they're going after their game against Ecuador. They know they're going to Boston to play a third-place team, and that's really good for them. And, if you win a game 7-1, I feel like you should top the group. So, fair play to them. Maybe they go get 9 points. Maybe they go and get 7. I'm excited to see what happens next. On the other hand, Côte d'Ivoire, they have to go and play Curaçao, who we'll talk about in a second, played a good game themselves, and they're still not through. If if Ivory Coast win, they're through. If they draw, they're through. And in second. So they can get second with a win or draw. But a loss, and they could be eliminated if they lose to Curaçao. And I hope that they don't. But I do like Curaçao as well, and, it'll be really interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Now, the big game of the day. Ecuador, Curaçao. Ecuador, their first game's against the Ivory Coast. They go into that, playing in Philly. They have all of their fans there. And you're thinking, wow, this is going to be a tight one. This is going to be a close one. Big game here. And it was kind of unfortunate for them that they lost. They played kind of well. Maybe deserved a draw with their defending. Last minute, conceded a good goal to Amad Diallo. What are you really supposed to do about that? They couldn't really do anything about it. And you gotta go and bounce back and play the easiest team in your group, the smallest nation to ever qualify for a World Cup. Just got beat 7-1 on their opening day. You gotta go out there and, score some goals. And they didn't. Room made 15 saves. He was fantastic. Some of the saves, absolutely spectacular, including the first one really early on, the one-on-one chance. Fantastic work from Room. But you got to do better as the Ecuadorian team. You got to take your chances. And Valencia really should have scored early on. There were many times where they shot it straight at the keeper, or where things were like, and credit to Curaçao for being resilient and, keeping their heads up, giving up all these chances, but still doing everything they can, and also going up the other end, and providing a threat. So, they looked kind of more likely to score almost, with some of their attacking display. Because my oh my, that Ecuadorian team, they're looking like Turkey out there with their shooting. They need to just do some shooting drills and put the ball in the back of the net a couple of times, because they showed up a fact in the middle of the game. It was like 882 FIFA World Cup minutes played, and this is in like the 70th minute or whatever, so it's probably 900 minutes played at a World Cup since an Ecuadorian player not named Caicedo or Valencia scored a goal for the Ecuadorian national team. 882 minutes. Do you know how many World Cups that spans? Like, legitimately? Where one guy is scoring, or two guys are scoring all of your goals? That's multiple World Cups. Because they've never made it out of the group, so you're looking at multiple World Cups. And now you have an uphill battle. You can maybe get third in the group if you beat Germany. But, they can still get second, technically. They can still get second if they beat Germany and Curaçao win, because then Curaçao will be on 4 points, and they'll be on 4 points, and their head-to-head is equal, and it's an insane goal difference. But more likely than that, Curaçao can draw or lose, and now they're looking at third place at best. And that's not the position you want to be in, having to play a first place team, especially when you're struggling to score. Speaking of playing a first place team when you're struggling to score, they're going to go do that. That is a tough game for them. I forget where they're playing, but they're playing Germany like that. I think it's New York. That's not going to be good for them. And so we'll see how that goes. I think Germany don't let their foot off the gas, and or they let their foot off the gas a little bit. You know, they struggled versus Ivory Coast. They're probably going to struggle to do the same. Maybe, I see maybe a draw. It could be 0-0, could be 1-1. If it's 0-0 and Ecuador go out without scoring a single goal, that's ridiculous. But I think it could be, you know, like a 1-1 draw. And then we're looking at, they don't qualify. They're on 2 points. They definitely don't qualify as a fourth place team. Versus Ivory Coast, who I think will get the job done in some way. I think Curaçao, knowing that they're not eliminated, they're going to go put everything on the line. I think it'll be a tough game in Philly. But I think that you know, the attacking prowess that they provide with Amad Diallo, with Yan Diomande, with Nicola Pepe, these players will come through and they'll get a result. They've been playing well. They were unfortunate to lose against Germany. I think they can get 6 points, 4 points, get into the knockout stage in second place, and be okay. The last game that we're going to talk about, so then we can talk about the other group again, is Japan-Tunisia. And Tunisia are officially eliminated from the World Cup. Poor display from them. Probably the worst display from a World Cup team thus far. I mean, they've conceded 9 goals in 2 games. Now, their expectation wasn't to perform well in this group. They were expected to finish last in this group, and they did finish last in this group. But the manner in which they finished last in this group is bad, you know? Yes, Japan are tough opponents, and Japan are looking to top the group, and I think they can. But you should not go out there and concede 4. You should make it a fight. Sweden, that was the upset. Match week 1, you need to get something. And something isn't 1 goal when you concede 5. Something is a point, 3 points, a close loss, even. Something that shows hope, and they did not do that. And so, you know, now you're looking at going home after playing the Netherlands, who will look to pump you to get that top spot. So you need to, and I think they will. I don't think Tunisia have anything to play for. So I think it's just going to be a simple Netherlands win. I don't think they'll run up to score like some people are saying, but I think like 2-3-0. And, you know, you score a couple of goals, you rest your starters, and you go into the knockout stage, top of your group, or second if Japan somehow destroys Sweden, which I don't think will happen. So there's that. Sweden, now that we're talking about that, Japan, on the other hand, go and play Sweden, like I said, and that'll be a tough game. Sweden will look to, you know, not lose again. They need a point to qualify for the next round, more or less. Their goal difference would have been nice. It's gone now. 0 goal difference, 4 points is fine. They're going to look to, you know, play well and get something from this game. And it's a tough group. It really is. And Japan are going to look to want to top that group. But, you know, Japan could also just settle for a draw. Everybody's happy. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll go out there. I think they'll play. I think it'll be a tough game. I think it might end up in a draw. But if it doesn't, I'm always going to say it's going Japan's way. Strong team. Played really well today. Good running. Good everything. Just a solid display and great fans as well. So I'm excited to see that game. At the same time, while checking the scoreline of the Netherlands-Tunisia game and seeing it just go up and up. Alright, so that's match week 10. Check out my channel later for day 11. Match week 10, day 10. Check my channel later for day 11, where we talk about how great of a day yesterday was. And I'll see you, and like and subscribe for more World Cup content. Peace.